You know what else is crazy? Banjo music. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Metacast podcast. That's the podcast that explores itself, explores ourselves, and explores the self in general. My name is Ty. I'm going to be your host.
And hello, I am Distance, your lucky co-host.
And tonight is the Metacast movie show about Logan Lucky. Logan Lucky is a comedy heist film in I'm gonna try that again. How do I want to do this? I didn't color code this week's shit. Logan Lucky is a comedy heist film released in 2017, directed by Steven Soderbergh and written by it's actually Jules Asner, but credited as Rebecca Blunt.
It stars Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Seth MacFarlane, and Katie Holmes.
The budget was $29 million, and the box office take was $48.5 million.
The tomato meter shows it at 92% with an audience score of 76%.
So, how do you feel about Logan Lucky? It's a it's a comedy heist, as we said, and it tells the story of two brothers planning to rob the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty fun movie. I thought it was pretty funny. When it comes to our just spoiler-free recommendation, I would give it a yes. I think yes. Should you watch? I say yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes on this one also.
Okay. I think that it's a lot of fun. It's if you're, I guess like with last week, I kind of give a little bit of a caveat to my answer. I'm not just going to give a blanket yes that everyone should watch this movie. But if you're looking for something fun or funny, I think that you'll get something out of this. If you're, going into looking for something, super cerebral or heady, this may not be what you're looking for. But yeah, if you're just looking for a fun film or fun movie, I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, same. I mean, it also if you're a Yankee yuppie, you should probably watch it because it might help you reinforce some prejudices and also suspend others.
That is true. That is okay. So yeah, we can get into like spoiler territory and start talking about some of the details. So that is kind of funny about this movie because this is like I don't want to say like my people because I don't necessarily relate, but it is like it being from West Virginia. It's kind of funny to like see all of the West Virginia stereotypes, I guess, and stuff that they kind of throw around in this movie, which is really well done. I think the performances were great. Channing Tatum and Adam Driver were both just amazing as the Logan brothers. They did both did a really good job.
Yeah, somehow I forgot Channing Tatum was in this movie when we were talking about it. And then when I watched it, I was like, oh shit, Channing Tatum's here. I forgot.
Yeah.
Well, because he just nails it so fucking much. Like, I don't even think of him as Channing Tatum.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, if Adam Driver wasn't, didn't have such a striking look to him, I think that it would be the same way. But it's just, he has such a distinct look that it's hard for him to kind of like fade in, I guess, the way that Channing Tatum did. But yeah, that was, he was very unrecognizable. He was not the normal Channing Tatum that you normally see. But
yeah, he and the thing I like the most about the movie is you to begin with, especially because I'm from the South, but I guess you'd call me a city person.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, when they watch the movie, especially if they haven't been to like rural areas or they don't have family from West Virginia or haven't lived in West Virginia, that they're going to have some ideas about, how the people are going to be. And, like I thought it was going to be a straight up buffoon movie. Like it was just going to be a bunch of like dumb shit happening. And, but in reality, like it's actually like a pretty cool movie. Like I think it's a well done heist film because the best heist films, the way that they always do it is they keep part of the plan secret.
Of course.
So then you wonder like, what are they doing that for? And then you sort of like figure it out like as the movie kind of goes on.
Which this is I didn't know until after watching this, but this Steven Soderbergh, he is the same guy that did Ocean's 11.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is kind of, they even kind of like nod to that in the movie where they on the news makes a joke of like calling the heist Ocean 7-Eleven because of the truck being found behind that convenience store or whatever. So it's like they kind of like throw a little nod to the fact that he did Ocean's 11. But it is like it before I even knew that, the movie felt like a I don't want to call it rednecky, but like a redneck or just a West Virginia version of Ocean's 11. Like it is like, like a lot of the characters filled those same kind of roles. A lot of the comedy is along the same lines. I don't think that's a bad thing, but
I think there's like some stuff that like, I don't know how to put it. Like there's some stuff that is kind of like distinctly Southern, I guess, about it. And there's some things that that like that only people in the South would maybe understand.
Yeah,
like the part where the guys are the brothers, Joe Bang's brothers, are talking about like their moral reason. Like, we didn't know you were going to rob NASCAR.
Yeah,
because NASCAR's America.
Yeah,
and you're kind of robbing America.
Yeah, it's like, that's like stealing from America.
Yeah, and for the record, like, I mean, I've been to the Coca-Cola 600 once. I think it's something that.
Oh, cool.
Well, did I tell you that story? I went there with a girl I was dating and her dad and one of his good friends. They drove down from Ohio specifically to go to it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "Do you want some sunscreen or a hat?" I was like, "Nah, you white people and your sunburns, I'll be fine."
Oh God.
But so not only is the Coca-Cola 600 the longest race of the entire year, because it's 600 laps and it's 1.5 miles track.
Jesus.
So
okay.
like it takes all day. But the thing is that it rained and then they used these like dryer things to dry the track.
Other way around. It's 400 laps, 600 miles.
Is that what it is?
That's what it says in the movie, at least, unless the movie was wrong. But the math would make sense though. If it's 400 laps of 1.5 miles, that would end up
maybe
being
maybe it's called the 600 for the miles and not the laps.
Well, either way, it's a long ass race though. I mean, in time, what is that normally though? That's like how long is that?
Oh no, it is 600 miles. That's right. Yeah. I don't know like how fast the cars go. I mean, they're going pretty fucking fast. But there's it was cool, dude. Like they had like, it was fucking awesome. Like they did fireworks before the race and a helicopter with 5 Marines in it like came in and like they basically buzzed the audience and like one of the Marines like threw his horns up and I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even in this movie, it shows like they had like I forget what planes they were, if they were like F-18s or whatever. There was like a flyover, and then I thought it was interesting the scene they showed where the lady was singing the national anthem. It like specifically showed
LeAnn Rimes, dude.
I don't know who LeAnn Rimes is.
Yeah, you know who LeAnn Rimes is? Come on.
I know her name. Obviously I would not be able to pick her out of a lineup, but I do know. I don't know if I can name one LeAnn Rimes song. Really? No, I know
she did a cover of Blue Moon.
That's a beer.
What? No, it was song first.
I did not. I didn't even know that. Okay, so I am way out of date on my country music.
Man.
But,
why don't you move to Nebraska where you belong?
But either way, I thought it was cool that like she was singing the lesser known verse. Isn't that like the second or third verse of the national anthem? It's like not the one you hear all the time.
I wasn't paying attention at all. I was just like, oh, LeAnn Rimes is pretty. The national anthem sounds the same. Like,
oh yeah, it's each verse has the same like rhythm and cadence and everything, but the lyrics are different, and it's like a lot of like lines that you don't normally hear in the first verse, the commonly sung one. But yeah, it just made me think that it's like, it made me picture that like opening ceremony of being like very grand. Like grandiose. If they're getting into the second verse of the national anthem, it's like, oh well, this is serious.
Yeah, and when I went to it after the race, I had blisters on my nose. Like that's how bad of a sunburn I got.
Yeah, you should have taken the sunscreen.
It was delayed almost an hour and a half, and yeah. So if you ever go to Coca-Cola 600, either wear a hat or put on some sunscreen.
Definitely, yeah. I would. Yeah. Don't overestimate your melanin count, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was real dark after all the peeling ended. I was like, yeah.
This was I don't know, man. This was an interesting movie though. Like I enjoyed it. But it's it I don't feel like it like takes anything away from it as like, okay, so here's something that came up in a talk that someone was giving about this movie on their YouTube channel, where they didn't specifically talk about it with this movie, but the idea of the difference between like a movie and a film. And it's like, you know, sometimes you may be in the mood for a movie, which is just kind of something lighthearted, and it's like, you know, it's there to be enjoyed, versus like if you want a film, maybe you're looking for more like the art of it, or like something that's going to scratch like a different itch, where this is like, I definitely enjoyed it as a movie, but in the same regard, you know, it's like Steven Soderbergh is like a filmmaker, and he is like, you know, when it comes to like cinematography and a lot of other things, he is like a very good, but I guess like compared to some of the other conversations we had and some of the other movies we've talked about, it's like there wasn't a lot there cerebrally that got my like, you know, my brain churning on like deeper ideas. It was like a really fun movie, and I enjoyed the experience of watching it, but it wasn't like it didn't get me thinking about like some sort of bigger theme or like bigger ideas, I guess.
Oh, because I mean, and I agreed to some degree. Like, I agree with you, but the one thing that I mean, I wouldn't call it cerebral, but the one theme that I thought was important about the film is that there are certain types of judgments and prejudices that people have about the Southern US.
Yeah.
And some of them, like having a Southern accent does not mean you're stupid.
Yeah.
And the way that they go, like, because Adam Driver goes like way over the top, fucking hayseed. Like, did you just say cauliflower?
And even
like,
just the way he carries himself, how he just kind of stands there and stares at people while he delivers these monotone lines. Like, it's
very like. And, you know, he sounds like a fucking idiot from the beginning of the film, because he's like, well, I mean, you know, mama died, or like whatever he's talking about. And then
he's talking about the Logan curse.
Yeah, so his dad died, and then his mom's something about like, you know, he got his leg blown off, and he busted out his knee, and then his arm got blown off.
Yeah.
And I love the clarification that he gives in the bar scene to the British guy, where he clarifies, well, no, my arm isn't actually missing, you see.
You know who the British guy is, right?
No, who was he?
That's Seth MacFarlane.
What?
Max Chillbrain or whatever. I forget
the thing is like, I didn't actually look at the notes that I just like rattled off about people starring in the film, and when I didn't realize that, because I said that just sort of glossing over it, like, who the
yeah, he had like, I mean, he had a fake, actually I don't know if the mustache was fake, but like either way, like, I mean, he was, you know, made up pretty heavily with the like the hair and everything. But I thought that was funny, because I saw that Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be in it, and the entire first watch through of the movie, I was like, where the fuck was Seth MacFarlane? It basically did the Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder thing to me, where it like didn't even notice who it was for the first like couple times he was on screen.
Which honestly, I think Tropic Thunder is some of Tom Cruise's best work. I mean that seriously. Like, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that ironically or tongue in cheek at all. I think that that's some of the best work that Tom Cruise has done.
Well, that's hard to say though, because like when I think of like best work he's done, like, well, God, best is such a loaded term though, because like as far as like.
If you say Last Samurai.
No, I was going to say like Mission Impossible stuff. Like as far as like quote unquote best work, like doing like the effort he puts in on set, I think with Mission Impossible is like, you know, he does go like above and beyond. Like he like doing his own, like the stuff that he doesn't even need to do at his level of acting, like doing his own stunts and that kind of shit. Like,
did you see Night and Day with him and Cameron Diaz, where he plays a dude that might be crazy? I fucking love that movie. That's actually one of my favorite films. When he and Cameron Diaz are brilliant together in that movie.
Yeah, they were actually really good. Yeah,
I just think as far as, because like, you know, Tom Cruise isn't what you would call like a character actor.
Yeah.
And I think that playing the character he played in Tropic Thunder was very much like a character actor gig.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
and I think that it was pretty cool, because in every movie he's, you know, Tom Cruise,
pretty much. Yeah.
You know, with the Tom Cruise grin, which I can't do. I have my own shit eating grin, and it's not nearly as hot. Tell me, ladies, tell me.
Have you ever noticed his teeth are like super off center? And like,
are they really?
It's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. But like in the middle of his face is a tooth, rather than it being the gap in the middle. Like if you were to put a line right down the center of his, it's like it splits a tooth in half. Like he has a center tooth. It's very strange.
Oh my God, this is so bizarre. I just looked it up.
Yeah, but you like now, like you won't be able to unsee it, but it's like, it's so funny because you picture Tom Cruise of having like the perfect Tom Cruise smile, but it's like in reality, it's like his teeth are actually like shifted over half a tooth to one side. But yeah, anyways, that you're never going to unsee that. Don't look up anything about Megan Fox's thumbs if you don't want to.
I've already seen them. I think we talked about this on the air at some point, and it just like ruined my life. Wow, this is fucked up. Like, okay, the face I was just making, that was me looking at pictures of, oh shit, I can't unsee it now.
Yeah, now it's just like
Can't unsee it.
It's always there. Yeah. But no, you're 100% right though. Tom Cruise is like very kind of like typecast almost. He always like he ends up playing basically that same role in everything. So it is really refreshing to see him doing something like different like that, which I'm sure he had fun with too, probably.
Oh yeah, and I mean primarily Seth MacFarlane is like a voice actor, really, you know.
Yeah.
So like seeing him kind of done up, like because I read his name thinking, huh? And it's weird because I guess he got billing just because of who he is. Probably, yeah. But I mean, the role like becomes major like later on, I guess. But dude. Speaking of later on, Hilary Swank, perfect cast. Yes, yeah, she was great for that. That absolutely perfect. So, what's your opinion on the end of this movie? It almost did the Inception thing, where it's like, oh, what's gonna happen? Excuse me, what's gonna happen next? But I'm glad that there wasn't a sequel or plans of it. Because it did, it felt like it kind of left it like that, where there could have very easily been a Logan Lucky 2, where it's like, all right, we're gonna follow Hilary Swank chasing down those Logan brothers now. Yeah, party har har. Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard, everyone. Yeah. But yeah, I don't usually like endings like that, but in this case, it's like I'm so sick of like the perfect heist film where everything like, you know, by the end of it, everybody like, or even like when the remakes that they did of Ocean's 11, where they all are like at the fountain at the Bellagio, I think. Yeah, I think they're all like leaning over the railing, and everyone's like super like happy and satisfied that they just got done with this heist. Which, by the way, Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13 makes me like really, really fucking angry, because Ocean's 11 was a remake, and making a sequel of a remake that didn't have a sequel just pisses me off, but whatever. That's my very quick rant about that. Next week we're doing Ocean's 13. No, next week we're doing, what is the all woman one? What was that one? Ocean's, do you remember that? It was like the most recent one. I haven't seen it either yet. I just didn't even know. I didn't know there was another one. Yeah, it's it just came out probably 2019, probably last year. Oh, yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe I should. I didn't know it existed, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I still fucking hate the fact that was a remake and they'd made sequels. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't see this new one out of principle, even though I saw the other ones because I like the actors. Or like, you know, the Italian Job movies like that. I get really tired of like the mega happy they got away with it ending. Yes. Because the thing about a heist film is that it's backwards. Like, you have to be kind of going for the criminals somehow. Yeah. So and I respect the fact that it takes a lot of talent for writers to, you know, and the actors too, everyone involved, to make those characters likable. But I like the fact that there was some idea that, you know, people that are intelligent, that are getting paid to solve and investigate crimes like this, like, okay, it makes me really fucking angry in movies like The Matrix, where there are like trained soldiers or SWAT team officers or police that are getting just completely mangled by, like, you know, Neo or whoever, you know. Like, I hate it when that happens, because those people are trained. They're trained for violence, to handle things like that. So like, it's the same thing, like where having an investigator that's being paid by the federal government, because that's the FBI, right? Hilary Swank's character, right? Yeah. It's supposed to be FBI. Yeah. Like, being paid by the federal government to solve, like, you know, major crimes. Like, you would expect them to not be fucking idiots. But I mean, I've never solved a crime before, so I don't really know what goes into that. So I like the fact that they're intelligent enough to actually kind of like figure stuff out, even though they're kind of buffoons a little bit. Well, yeah, I mean, she's definitely like she knows what's going on, but it also seems like the case is just kind of closed at that point, and that nothing's going to happen, because even like it basically set it up to where the Charlotte Motor Speedway, it seems to have
committed, like it would have basically been insurance fraud and gotten more money than they lost. So they're no longer trying to look into it or want the investigation to go on. So even like the victim is not interested in the investigation going on further.
But it kind of makes me wonder because the I don't know, she's almost flirting a little bit too, like
at the very end
as he's like pouring the drink or just passing through.
Did you notice that her arm looked fake in that scene?
Really?
That was like, it jumped out to me on the second watch through of the movie, and then when I looked it up online, there was a few people that have talked about it, but it's like like in that scene, her arm sitting on the bar looks fake, and then the way he puts the bottle down, it like obscures where you would see if it was real or not. And like, I don't know, it was just kind of a weird little detail that it's like, yeah, I got a weird feeling from that last scene, and I kind of didn't understand what it was showing me or what it was trying to show me.
I mean, it's the creators might have been doing it to like fuck with the audience or just to create an online presence like that. Or I mean, you know, like maybe it was part of some weird like charm or some kind of thing she was trying to pull on his character, like, oh, I have a fake arm too, you know. But the thing for me is it makes me wonder if like because she's kind of like a Captain America sort of kind of thing going on, like, so it makes me wonder if like has such a heavy interest in like justice that she's like just gonna go ahead and do her own thing.
Yeah, look,
or
hold on, did you have my stream pulled up?
Hold on, I can look on the stream real quick. I have it up on one screen.
Okay, so he sets the bottle down. Do you have it pulled up now?
Yeah, look at that.
All right, so he sets the bottle down, but when the camera switches to the other view here, when she takes the shot, the arm looks super fake, and the bottle is like obscuring where you would see if it like connected or not. And the arm is just kind of there, very lifeless, just kind of sitting there. Like, I don't know if it's if it's just me seeing that and a few other people seeing it too, or if it's supposed to be what, you know, I don't know. But I thought that was like, it seemed very lifeless the way, like, and for their, you know, to be talking to a one-armed character, it seemed like it was on purpose to just like gonna have her arm sitting there like that, but I'm not sure.
Now that you mention it, like, it does look a little fake, but it could also be like that her hand is just in like an awkward position that makes it look like a prosthetic. But I don't know, man. That's really weird. I never really noticed that. I'm kind of weirded out by that.
Yeah, that's what, like, the end just threw me off, and then it like pans to his old arm was on that other table just holding a beer bottle. So it was like there was just two things at the very end that it was like, what is this? What does it mean? Like, and it's, you know, talking about Steven Soderbergh, that I didn't really know until this movie that he's just kind of like a weirder guy, like, which is an interesting person, I guess I should say, where he has like pseudonyms he uses for, you know, like people working for him, quote unquote, that are actually him. And it's like his I forget it's either a cinematographer he's credited working with a lot that's actually him under a pseudonym or something else like that. And then the writer of this movie, it was credited to Rebecca Blunt, which is apparently a pseudonym that a lot of people thought it was him for a few years, that he actually wrote it, but it turns out it's probably his wife, Jules Asner. And they didn't want it to seem like he was making his wife's movie. So instead they just released it under a pseudonym. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that it's like, little stuff like that tied to this, you know, he's kind of like an artsier dude, a little, you know, on the eclectic side, and makes movies that are a little kind of like, what do people use? Avant-garde, I think is the term that people use, or like a little artsier. Like, I
think it kind of reminds me of Andy Kaufman, and he had that alter ego that was like Tony something.
Clifton, I think, right?
Yeah. And like he would dress up as him, but then I guess his manager would also do the same shit.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear about the thing that Jim Carrey actually did with that guy, the actual dude, at like the Playboy Mansion?
Yes. Yeah.
He showed up and everyone told him it was Jim Carrey, and then Jim Carrey showed up.
Yes. Yep.
I think that's fucking hilarious. But yeah, like I think that like people that are like, I don't know, I think some people are just bored.
Yeah.
And they just want to do like stuff that they think is fun or interesting or different.
I can see that.
I think when you hit a certain point of creativity, you just get like kind of weird. But I didn't know anything about him other than like, I've seen several of his films that I think I've enjoyed. Actually, I'm going to go through a list of a few and see which ones I can pick out real quick.
Well, he was on like a self-imposed retirement basically, and came out of that retirement to make Logan Lucky. And like for 4 years, he was not doing anything with film, and he was only working in I guess Broadway and TV.
So I'm trying to remember. There was one movie he did. Because I'm sure, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the air, if I've said it to you or not, but there was Matt Damon on, I think it was maybe when Letterman was still on. He did an impression of Matthew McConaughey.
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah,
a Soderbergh movie, and he was like, was it no? Oh, dude, he did Syriana. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
The Big Empty, The Jacket, that shit was fucking crazy.
He's done a few big.
Adrian Brody, like
the fact that he did Traffic, Aaron Brockovich, Magic Mike, like he's done a lot. That's a wide range of movies too, from Contagion to Magic Mike.
Yeah, that's nuts. So so it looks like I guess he'd worked with Channing Tatum before.
Mm-hmm.
But that impression that Matt Damon did, he was like, of Matthew McConaughey, was like, Mr. Soderbergh, I believe that today's scene would be a good opportunity for us to take our shirts off. And like,
oh my God,
apparently he just doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we need to talk, Kevin. I haven't seen that one. So I think I saw Michael Clayton. What was that about? That sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar.
Oh, fucking
what is
George
that?
Clooney, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a good movie.
Firm. Yeah. This movie's fucking crazy.
That was a Soderbergh movie?
Seeing this shit. That's George Clooney at his best. Yeah. That was him apparently.
I didn't know.
And I guess they worked together on Syriana too.
Yeah.
Syriana has one of the most fucked up scenes ever in any movie.
What scene?
They're torturing the like secret agent spy dude character that George Clooney plays for information, and they rip his fingernails out with pliers.
Oh yeah.
And ever since I've seen that movie, when anything bad is happening, I think to myself, could be worse. Someone could be ripping your nails out with pliers.
That is probably one of the yeah.
I immediately feel better about it then. But yeah, and if I'm honest, like I didn't even know that Soderbergh directed this movie, and I had no fucking clue he did Magic Mike.
Yeah, I definitely had no idea he did Magic Mike.
I still haven't seen Magic Mike.
But you should pick that for next week.
He's executive producer for the new Bill and Ted movie.
That's kind of cool. I'm into that. I want to check out this other movie he did called Unsane. It looks like it's kind of up my alley. Looks like it's a psychological horror.
Oh, so you're saying it's fucked up? Okay.
But yeah. You know the movie. Like, okay, it's got Juno Temple in it. Juno Temple in it, and it's fucked up. It seems like something I would like.
Doesn't she play like? Is it Anna in Mr. Nobody?
Maybe.
I think that is her. Yeah. Actually,
I like her though. She's a good actress.
I watched part of Mr. Nobody the other night. I know we were talking about doing it again. That movie's cray. It's absolutely cray.
That is a weird one. I haven't seen that in
Juno
years.
Temple has got that weird kind of vibe going on. I don't know how else to describe it other than like weird vibe.
But yeah, I like weird vibes.
She seems like someone that I would like try to date and then recognize they were batshit crazy. But not like in a bad way, like in a good creative way, like a Steven Soderbergh kind of way.
So what from this movie like cracked you up the most? Are there any like there were a few moments to me that just jumped out as hilarious. For instance, the argument between the warden and the prison mates about the Game of Thrones books, and that was just brilliant. Like that writing to me.
Stop following the books after.
Yeah, I love that. How does the inmate says it? He's like, that doesn't make no sense. George R.R. Martin was supposed to turn in the Winds of Winter 2 years ago, and he's like, well, no, it says here on the Wikipedia that he had some issues and he wasn't able to do it on time. No, those prisoners that came in from out of state knew all about the hot girl and her dragons. I think that they're learning that from the show. The show was divorced from the books. He just like puts his hands up and walks away. Like, that's just like, that was fucking brilliant writing to me. That had like, it's not often that I watch a movie alone and laugh out loud. It's normally like a funny scene that just makes me maybe exhale sharply through my nose, but that had me actually laughing.
Yeah, there's a few things in there. I like there's a couple of spots where his daughter is fucking hilarious when she says the thing that she's in like her aunt Mellie's like beauty shop and they're about to put the hair extensions in. She says something about like, she says like, for glitz, I've got to have this hair.
Yeah, she was great in this. Yeah, she did a really good job. And I like to see at the beginning like where she's like handing him the tools and shit. Mm-hmm.
The scene that kind of makes me laugh is when he's like, it didn't sell very good in Mexico because no va means no go in Spanish. Get you a Mustang right here, And like
that was a great casting choice too. He was perfect for that role.
He is such a wiener, like an absolute wiener. Like that character is brilliant because he's like they give you like the rich boy vibe, like a car dealership. Like you're not what we call self-made, if that's a thing.
But it's funny too because like the same as I don't know where you know that actor from, but I think his biggest known role is he was Roy in The Office. And the funniest thing about that character in The Office is like the dude does basically nothing wrong other than the fact that he had been with Pam too long without marrying her. It's like the dude does nothing wrong, but for some reason as a viewer, you're on Jim's side to take his girlfriend basically. And it's like, you don't really know why, but it's like that guy plays that role really well. And it's like, this movie's kind of similar too, where like the guy he's a little bit of a douche, but like not in a mean way, just kind of in like a kind of dumbass way, but he doesn't really do anything wrong, but you just kind of hate him for being who he is.
Like when I use the term wiener, like I mean it's somebody who kind of gets on your nerves but is just too impotent to really offend you.
Like
it's like you're not like a bad guy, but you're just like ugh, like
well, I hate that
with me.
I hate that too because it always like it makes me question why I don't like them, and it's like I don't have a solid reason to like in my head that I can stand on, because like if someone does something fucked up, then it's like oh well they're probably not a good person, I shouldn't be around them. But when they're just irritating, it's like fuck, am I the bad guy? Like I don't like them because of like because of the way they make me feel about their voice. Shit, yeah, I'm an asshole. Like,
it's like he ties his shoes funny and does that thing when he chews, I love the part where Melly like gives him a bunch of shit about like driving, like, well, I see that's an automatic. It's like, I love stick. It's like, well, I mean, I've never really seen you drive stick. Like, I can drive stick. Like, I think he said something about being like a stick enthusiast or some shit. Like, it's like, what the fuck? It's the fact that he's so bothered by it too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It does a good job of setting up stuff later too. Little stuff like that in this movie that seems kind of trivial at the time, but it ends up being like it kind of factors in later. But
and then like it's a con to like get a fast car. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's my favorite color. They call it grabber blue that Mustang is in. I have considered buying one for a while. Actually, I think every American should own a Mustang for at least a year. Say what you want to about Ford, but it's the only muscle car that they never stopped producing. The Camaro was discontinued for 2 years.
Really?
And also one thing, we're still on the subject of amusing shit, but Joe Bang's brothers, I think every fucking thing about them is hilarious. Like he's like, are you on a landline or a cell phone? I'm on a regular phone.
phone.
And like the two of them are the only like real idiots in the entire film.
Yeah.
But they still kind of do what they're supposed to.
Yeah. I like that it's like they're idiots, but they're not bumbling buffoons like you're saying. Like they don't fuck stuff up. They're just like, I mean, like they almost overslept. And I guess the argument of that one scene, like it could have been if Channing Tatum didn't come and pound on their door and wake them up, would they have overslept for the job or not? But they did get the job done, and when worse comes to worse. But
the whole like moral thing, they're basically saying like what we want you to do is rationalize us doing a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like which is really funny because like that's just another like Southern thing because it's like everybody knows that when they go to church, they're pretending to be all great and lovely and holy or blessed and highly favored, bless your heart kind of shit. But everybody knows that everyone's fucking faking it.
Yeah.
It's like, and then, and especially in like a small town area, like everybody's like gossiping about whatever. I used to work with a lady that lived in Siler City.
Okay.
And that place is like, everybody knows everything about everybody else, like their history and like whoever played what position and what sport in high school and all this stuff. Like it's crazy. So that's like another thing that like I think is funny. But the two of them were just great. And I love the part where like I said it earlier about like, but NASCAR, it's America. It's like robbing America. Those two just cracked me up the whole fucking film. But there's one thing that I like, cinematography, like it's a camera angle. They do it twice, I think, where you see the angle of Melly's Nova and the hatch opening.
Oh yeah.
Because technically, I think it's a coupe, but I think it's technically a hatchback because of that.
Oh.
And I think Chevy Chevelles have the same kind of back, because like the whole back of it comes up.
Yeah, it's not just the trunk.
And I'm pretty sure IROC Z Camaros had the same shit. What the fuck is it with Chevy in that? But they showed this one angle of, and I don't know what kind of lens they were using, but the lens like makes it look really cool. Like as she opens it, and the hatch comes up on the back of the Nova. And also that car is gorgeous. And see, that's the thing I love about that too, is that Melly is an enthusiast. But the other guy's just a douche. It's like when I went to a Cars and Coffee event and someone showed up with an R32 Skyline and a guy showed up with a Lamborghini LP something. And the guy in the Lamborghini was like, how come no one cares about my Lamborghini? Because you're a tool. Go to Starbucks.
I would care about the Lamborghini. I like Lamborghinis.
Well, it's an R32 Skyline right-hand drive. Somebody had to pay a shitload of money to get that to the US. You don't see R32s every day. I see R34. I meant R32.
I don't see Lamborghinis every day either.
But at Cars and Coffee, there's always a Lamborghini or a Ferrari there.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I've never been to Cars and Coffee, so I guess that's fair.
It's like every time there's always somebody that like has too much money and like has, it's like some angry car there's actually montages of dipshits and exotic cars that crash them just trying to be cool. Like there's a hilarious video of a dude in a Lamborghini Huracan or however you say that, and he takes out like 8 cars in Manhattan, just boom, and somehow like just fucks them all up.
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
I think it's a Huracan, or however you say it, Huracan or something like that. But it's like a silver Lambo, and I think that was the only one that came in that at the time. But yeah, but I just I like that. Like it makes you dislike that character even more. Like I love Stick.
That was pretty funny. That it's like, I don't know if this was intended in that scene, but it was like, like she's like questioning his masculinity basically by saying he doesn't drive a stick, and it gets him to like yell in public, "I love Stick," which arguably is like kind of not the most manly thing to yell.
Yeah. And it's the fact that it's also an indication he's very insecure, because he actually feels as if that really is like threatening his sense of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And another scene that like I fucking threw my head back at was, okay, the gummy bear bomb, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I need to ask.
Is it when he's explaining the chemistry? Yeah, that was my next note. Yeah.
Well, I work with chemists, so I'm actually gonna take it in and ask them, like, well, most of them, I don't know how good their general or inorganic is. I think that was all. Was there none of those molecules were carbon based, I don't think.
No, they were talking about phosphates. No, yeah, it was all like.
So like, I think, I don't know.
Chlorides and phosphates. Yeah.
I think most of the people, phosphates are, I don't know, the people I work with might be able to tell me. I'll ask them if it was bullshit or not. But I love the part where, like, because I'm thinking, what the fuck is any of this real? That sounds like bullshit to me. Like, why does he even need to tell these guys this?
Yeah.
And then like it goes there, I was like, what a fucking idiot! It didn't explode. Then it comes back. He's like, I twisted the bike too many times.
Yeah, he untwisted one time.
I was like, what? And then when the explosion goes off, I was like, nah. Because I forgot about that scene. I remember like it does work, but I was like, I forgot about that, and I forgot about the science lesson. But this is the second film we've watched where Daniel Craig does a weird fucking accent.
Yes.
That in this movie, he just goes way over the top with it.
Well, he went way over the top with it in Knives Out too.
Well, it's like, yeah, well, it's funny because what he does in these two films is the two extremes, I say. Like, so, okay, Daniel Radcliffe was talking about how most Americans, when they do a British accent, they just go like full on, like, oh, yes, like, I say, jolly good, like posh, like whatever, or they just go straight up Cockney.
I think you just offended Lee. So, Lee, that's his British accent, just so you know. That's the best he can do.
Yeah, that's about it. Sorry. But sorry, I just realized that he said the thing about love stick doing manual. I love manually stimulating my stick. I
want to clip that. That's
please do. Yeah. But what I noticed that, like, I work with a lady who grew up in New York State, I think.
Okay.
And when she does a Southern accent, it is fucking straight up hillbilly, like, like not even, it doesn't even really exist in any dialect I've ever heard, like straight up, like down, like, you know, or they'll do like the Colonel.
Yeah, it's like a cartoonized version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'll say, this is a lovely day, madam, or like whatever. Or it's like, hey, y'all, where y'all want to go for lunch today? And give me some barbecue. Like, and I feel like Daniel Craig does each of those. Pretty like much, in Knives Out, he's like would you like a finger licking good, you know? And then the other one's like,
Foghorn
I keep
Leghorn.
my feathers numbered for just an emergency.
Yeah.
And like the stuff that he says, like, you know, it's like, I don't know. He's got like Eminem's haircut, and he has like weird tattoos, and he like harasses their sister. I'm about to get naked. No peeking.
That was great. That was
no peeking.
The other, oh my god, the other part that fucking cracked me up. I didn't do this as my favorite line just because it takes the context, but when they're telling him, they're trying to like convince him to be part of the heist, and they're telling him that the money was stolen by that woman that ran off with the guy from Florida. He's like, hold on, what part of Florida? I just love that mattered. And it was like, they're Clearwater.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, it does matter. Like, there's 3 sections of Florida, and they're all very different. I was told one is rednecks, then there's retired people, then there's Cubans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I was told is Florida. Yeah. So, and I feel like there might have been another area, but yeah, I mean,
there's Disney World.
Florida, oh yeah, there you go. Then there's Disney World, which is a state of its own.
Yeah.
It's a state of mind. But yeah, I mean, the gummy bear bomb is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like, I love that part because you don't really know. He's like, get a beer, and he's like, oh, baby doll, could I also get 2 bags of them gummy bears?
Yeah. I like how it was an afterthought. Yeah.
I was like, he just likes gummy bears, I guess. And then next thing you know, he's like, oh, here we go. But realistically, I think it was just sugar, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was that he said.
It was no, I thought it was like, it was one of the phosphate was from the fake salt. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure now. I don't remember.
And then the fake salt line is at the very beginning of the movie when he tells them to go over to the snack machine. And he's like, go over there, hit J7, I think is what he says. Yeah. They come back with like a pack of like 2 boiled eggs. I'm like, that was like that big thing you wanted? Like, that's what you were craving? And he like pulls out like fake salt. Can you believe there's such a thing?
And then I love that later, like it shows him, he like makes his breakfast and he's like poured a cup of coffee and he's got 2 hard-boiled eggs like sitting there next to his coffee. So it's like, yeah, that's his go-to snack, man.
It's like that's his thing. I mean, boiled eggs are pretty good though. I am a fan of boiled eggs.
Yeah. They're stinky, but they're good.
They're yummy. Well, if you don't overcook them, they usually tend to not smell too bad.
Oh, really?
But the thing is if they're hard boiled, like a lot of the time they're going to be like that. I mean, soft boiled eggs never smell bad.
Yeah, but no.
But maybe that's because I eat them immediately. Maybe it's that they're sitting is the reason why they smell bad.
Maybe. I don't know. I tend to leave them sit. And another part that cracked me up. I thought this was really funny. They had to have just done this on purpose. The Sadie singing the Take Me Home Country Roads I love how she did that thing that a lot of people do, that if you're not a good singer and you don't like really know the song and you don't know your range well, you start a little too high. And then later in the song, when it starts to get high, you're like, oh shit, these notes are way out of my range. Like, they was doing that thing where like any of the upper notes she was really struggling with, but it was funny. It was well done.
because I thought it was funny. I got the the chords and lyrics for "Let It Go" from Frozen.
Okay.
And
okay.
I did the same shit like when I played the verse. And then I'm like, "Let it go, let it go." And it's like I can't sing this high. But yeah, that's actually funny because I was messing around with that, like because my lady friend, we were like FaceTiming yesterday. I was like, "You want me to play a song?" And so I started saying this, like, "You don't recognize it?" She's like, "No." I was like, "You're about to."
Yeah.
And like as I let it go, and she was like, "Gross." Like, like you're disgusting.
That's got one of my favorite actresses in it.
What's their name? The one that plays Elsa, right?
I thought she was Anna.
I don't know which character.
I've actually never seen Frozen, but Kristen Bell. I'm a huge fan of Kristen Bell.
Oh yeah, Kristen Bell. That's her name. Yeah. She does good work.
Yeah.
She's been in a couple, like I think she's been in a couple comedies I really enjoyed. But you know, like I just like this movie because it creates this idea, I think, that you know, not everybody that sounds like they're kind of dumb is necessarily a complete idiot. Yeah. And that even people that seem like there's some kind of way might not actually be, and that there's something going on like below the surface. Like there's a guy that I know that I met him. I was dating a girl that was going to school in Boone, and this guy was like a flannel wearing, Durango boots, mountain man redneck.
Okay.
And he was the kind of guy that what he would do is he would drink Evan Williams whiskey until he threw up, and then he'd switch to beer.
Okay.
Like that's what he would do. He's like, "Oh, well, that's out of my system. Better replace it with beer." And this dude was like, he has I don't know if it's a master's or PhD in theoretical math. He's a professor now.
Yeah, it's a complicated subject.
He would like get drunk and start making up weird math formulas for shit and trying to like tell you like what equation you could use to map out the path of a golf ball or like all kinds of weird shit. And I don't know how much of it was true, how much of it wasn't, but
true.
I just think that it's really cool when you like see or meet somebody that, you know, you have a certain kind of judgment about. Like, you know, for instance, like there's a guy that I work with, and for some reason, when people speak slowly, they just seem unintelligent to me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make a lot of sense.
There is some correlation between the speed at which someone thinks and the speed at which they speak. So some but it's not 100%, you know, but like,
well, I mean, I talk real fast. I'm a fucking idiot. So,
but you think you're not, that's not true. You're a fast thinker, but you know what I mean? Like there are people that like, you can tell that they're thinking quickly because their words are like a little too fast, or sometimes you can tell if someone's like excited about something. It's like, well, hold on, like slow down. You're talking a little too fast. Like,
yeah, that's true. I mean, like if someone's like anxious or having a hypomanic episode, but there's a dude that I work with who speaks kind of slowly, and for some reason I thought that he was like not particularly smart.
Yeah,
and just I didn't really know him or talk to him that much, and I've actually gotten to know him a lot better, and I'm like, actually, this guy's pretty smart. And that's the thing that I like the most. But the thing is that there's still some degree of like silliness or whatever about the characters. Like a lot of the stuff is very like backwards and kind of like tongue in cheek, like written. But you know, it's like I'm just a big fan of the movie because I was expecting it to be just a bunch of dipshits being dipshits.
I forget what movie I watched recently. It was like a heist movie that, oh my god, there's two guys that are hired to do a job, and they're like Australian idiots, and they hold up a card game, and like it's like a famous, like it's got Ray Liotta in it, and like
I watched that recently. Brad Pitt's in it.
What?
And there's a bunch of George W. Bush speeches throughout the film, and it's almost like a weird social commentary. And at the end of it,
what fucking movie was that?
That movie's depressing as fuck.
It was good. It was well done, but either way, like.
Only one character was Australian in it, but I know what you're talking about.
But the guy in the beginning though, that Australian character that even like, I mean the joke is that he's like a fucking idiot. Like he brings the sawed off shotgun that's literally sawed like down to the nub, and it's like, you're gonna spray the entire room with that. Like, like, and then he brings the Oh yeah, he was supposed to bring gloves, and he brings the like huge dishwashing gloves because that's all they had. Like that's what I was scared of from this movie. I think is what you're saying too. Is like the like portrayal of these Southern characters as just like incredibly incompetent.
Killing them softly. That's what the film's called.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, Brad Pitt's character in that shit's absolutely insane. That's a fucking crazy movie. I've seen it twice now. But yeah.
But I liked that the characters were funny but not incompetent.
Yeah, and you know, I to me it was comical that the actors went different directions with the accents too.
Yeah.
But not like, did you ever see the movie Alexander with Colin Farrell in it?
I don't know if I have.
Well, like every character has a completely different accent. Like Colin Farrell's like, he's like, come with me and I promise you will conquer death. It's like some weird like Bill and Ted thing. And then like Val Kilmer is like some weird like transatlantic or mid-Atlantic, that made up accent from like the movies.
Oh no, it was transatlantic, like, I think. Yeah.
Transit, is that what it's called?
Yeah. The like
that weird like made up, like, you know, Hugh Grant did it and like a few other like, like I've always depended on the kindness of strangers, or like whatever the fuck they say. Like, I don't know.
That was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
But like I can't really do it. But and then Angelina Jolie is in the movie and she like does some weird thing where she like rolls all of her R's in some weird like miss like Catwoman from the old Adam West Batman.
That's awesome.
It's like so fucking weird. But in this movie they all took like liberties and did like a different version of it.
Yeah.
I mean, Katie Holmes did like,
but it didn't.
She sounded like,
it didn't sound bad. Like it didn't I still believe that they were all from the same area, or like it didn't, like it wasn't like weird. Like I don't know.
But Daniel Craig's was like a little bit awkward, but I think that he did a really good job considering he's a British person, because most of the Brits that I work with, like they couldn't do a Southern accent to save their lives.
Yeah. Or at least not a believable one, right?
Yeah. Or like, and if you did one that wasn't even really that thick, they'd be like, what the fuck are you saying to me? Mate, bruv, cheers. What are you on about?
Bruv.
Yeah, but it's just like that. But Adam Driver just goes like in some weird fucking place with the accent that I really, really like.
Yeah, I thought he was great in this. I mean, I'm a big fan of him already, but I thought he was fantastic in this.
The thing that I like about him is that he's like a serious actor, I guess, but he's not pretentious.
Yeah.
You know, like he played the role. He had fun doing it. He did a great job. And I mean, Channing Tatum honestly was brilliant in the film. Like people make fun of him a lot. Like they think that he's some beautiful idiot. And I mean, I obviously, like, it's not really debatable. Like Channing Tatum's he's a really good looking guy.
He's beautiful. But, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard many people call him gorgeous, and you know what? I mean, I'm not going to debate that. He's a really attractive man. But I just think that people are unfair to him because he's so handsome, you know?
It's the typecast kind of thing. Yeah, it's like you like it's the whole Tom Cruise thing. You kind of get like put into a certain bucket.
When one of the first movies you did was Step Up, well, it's
and then Magic hard. Mike was not too long after, but you do kind of like, I mean,
he just plays like the attractive dummy role a lot, which is like, you know, it works, but it's also like, I don't know, but people are unfair to him because, you know, they think that he somehow is that person. But if you listen to him talking like interviews and stuff like that, but you know, for me, like I thought Channing Tatum was kind of branching out a lot in this role. I think it was something that you wouldn't have seen him do. But like honestly, bro, like I lived in the South my whole life, and if he like walked up to me in character and I didn't know who he was, I would just assume he was one of the guys that I work with that hunts. Yeah. Or like one of the Southern, like real like twangy Southern guys at the gun range, like, or like the dude that's blasting Luke Combs like flying down the road and in his Camaro. Like I would straight up believe it. Like he nailed it. And like being someone that's grown up around men like that my whole life, like everything about the way he did it, the facial hair, all of it. He was the most convincing person.
I think that he was very very convincing, and also Katie Holmes as Bobby Joe was really convincing too.
She did like the kind of like snooty like Southern lady thing, like the kind of, well, you know what I mean? Like it's hard to describe. that everything that comes out of their mouth is passive aggressive, no matter what it is. And like, and obviously she like, she I think is pretty bankrupt as far as character goes. I mean, she's like married to a tumbling dickweed who she like pushes around all the time, and I don't think that it's for anything other than money, because like what the hell else would you marry that guy for? But yeah, I thought she did a good job. She didn't go like over the top with it, but she played that type of character really well.
And I think that a lot of the, I guess I don't know if costume choices is the right word, but like not necessarily set design, but the costume design and like what characters were wearing felt really authentic. So whoever did that, it was Millie's wardrobe a lot, and then Bobby Joe's wardrobe a lot. Just felt very like, didn't feel characterized. It just felt like what you would see like someone in that area wearing.
That Bob Seger shirt, man.
yeah.
That Bob Seger shirt. It's like, well, you did Mike biking, so and you burned it like I like it. No, you don't. Yeah. But to me, like when he gets out of bed and he's like, it's like it's like either bacon or barbecue. Like it's one of the two. Once again, a Southern thing. Like I know everybody likes bacon, but that's like to me, like that's like a distinctly kind of Southern thing. Yeah. And,
well, I mean the saying like wake up and smell the bacon is a Southern saying, right? Like you wouldn't hear that in like Jersey.
Yeah. I mean you might, but it would sound funny. They talk kind of weird. But yeah, man, like it's funny though, because like people don't like recognize, like I would call myself a Southerner, and I think you would too, but like people don't necessarily recognize this as being so. Like I dated a girl who was from Maryland. Okay. And when I met her parents, her mom was like, "Are you sure you were born down here?" I was like, "Why would I lie to you about what? Yeah. Who does that?"
Yeah, that's weird.
But like what she was kind of getting at by the end of the conversation was she thought I was too smart to be from the South.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
And I'm like, go eat your crab cakes, Yankee.
Like, we do kind of have this like.
I feel like I'm alienating all of our viewers from the North. So if you're watching
we do kind of have this like weird tendency, and I don't know if it's just necessarily in the U.S. or what, but like we tend to think of like, if you hear someone with a British accent, they're intelligent. If you hear someone with a Southern accent, they're unintelligent. And I don't know why. Like, and like you're pointing out, it's like that's not correct. I've met a bunch of like really stupid British people, and I've met a bunch of really smart Southerners. So, but for some reason, that's just kind of a preconceived notion we have based on accents that doesn't really have any ground in anything. I don't really understand where it comes from. But I know moving here, that was something that I definitely thought too. It was like, I remember having I talked to my mom when we moved here, years ago, and she was making the same point to me about talking to a guy that had like a really thick Southern accent before we had, gotten used to them at all. Moving from, the western side of the US to here, like,
before we'd gotten used to the natives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're thicker before they grow on you. Right. But either way, it was like, here's this guy that has a PhD, and I'm probably questioning if he can spell that. And it's not right, and it's like only because of his accent. But but it's like it is like a weird preconceived notion that we have that it's like things need to break it.
People like in the South or maybe even the Midwest would hear somebody from the Northeast and think that they were a jerk.
Exactly. Yes, that's another one.
Just because of the fact that they had like Boston, New York, like Massachusetts kind of like accent. I mean, like New York City, but because New York State has a different accent that's very odd to me. It sounds vaguely Jamaican. I don't know how to describe it.
That's
like they don't say New York or New York. They say New York.
Oh,
it's fucking bizarre.
Well, yeah, it is kind of more like It's almost more Midwestern-y kind of.
Yeah, it's very strange. Because like whenever someone says like New York State, they're being very clear with you. Like I am from the damn city. Like I'm not one of them folks, they don't talk like that. I'm just associating it with people that are outside of the city where I live. But
exactly.
There's also another thing just on the sort of like north, south, whatever. Like there's a thing that I realized recently that I'm like, America, like, V8 muscle cars and barbecue and, George Strait, oh, wait a second. That's all like mostly Southern stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like to the South, like a lot of us think that the only things that are American are like Southern things.
but
or like biscuits. Like that's
like
American.
Well, the American stuff that you think of is very Southern or Midwestern, and I mean it's like what are the traditions? There's American is baseball, American is apple pie. What are the other things that people use as like the go-to?
Well, if you live in Europe, it's guns.
Yeah. I wish that's that. I can't.
Trucks.
That's all very like, for lack of a better like way to lump them. That's all very like red state stuff. That's all very either like Midwestern or Southern. So it is like, it is weird because like as someone who is like mostly liberal, I definitely am proud to be an American, but so many of those things are not things that. Well, I guess I like guns, but like other than that, it's like I'm not a baseball fan. I'm not a like.
I fucking hate baseball.
Exactly, yeah. So many of the things that like that people talk about as being like the hallmarks of America are not really things that I necessarily take part in or enjoy. But I think I need to defect. How much does it cost? Do you know how much it costs to give up your American citizenship? It's a lot.
I don't think it just costs your fucking soul.
No. You do actually have to pay. There was like a meme.
I pay money to renounce your citizenship.
Yeah, I saw a meme about that the other day. It was just like it actually does cost money, but anyways, I'm just joking. I would but that's gone through my notes. Yeah, I'm not even trying anymore. That worked through my notes. Do you have anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Not really. I think I pretty much kind of like went through any of the stuff that I was interested in talking about.
Let's do favorite line. Okay, so it's gonna be fun. I really like this one. This is the one I'm gonna go with. So when Rihanna sings Umbrella, she's not really singing about a rain umbrella. She's really singing about her vagina. It's code. That one cracked me up. That little kid fucking cracked me up.
And in that moment, you're like, that little shit. Like that's all I could think of with that kid. But it's like, yeah, just burst her bubble, you dick. Okay, well, mine is energy means lot, explosion, or as I like to call it, the Joe Bang.
The Joe Bang. That's awesome. Well, guys, let's see. Next week is Arrival. I did decide on. I'm sticking with Arrival. I think that this was enough of a break. We can go back to like a serious movie, but I didn't want it to be like too serious. After Only, that was a downer. Even though Arrival is it's a serious movie, I wouldn't consider it a downer. So I don't think that it's I don't want to compare it to Inception, but it's like Inception was that kind of way too, where it was definitely a emotional movie, but I don't think it left you on a sour, it didn't leave you on a down note, right?
I hate that movie.
Inception. Hold on. I meant Interstellar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said Inception, but I meant Interstellar. Yeah.
Well, I was actually wondering, what emotions did you feel watching Interstellar other than disgust and anger? Because that's what I felt.
But it was like person. That, right? Where it's like,
well, yeah.
Even though it was a serious movie, it's not like it was depressing.
Well, Interstellar wasn't. It was emotional, but not depressing. It kind of took you places that weren't necessarily like what you might call sad, but maybe just relatably emotional. There were some sad parts, but it's almost like, at the risk of sounding ridiculous, maybe I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get made fun of by the guys at work if they ever watch this. They're liberating emotions.
Yeah, getting in touch with
you feel good about feeling. It reminds you, oh yeah, I'm human.
Yeah.
Yes, this means you're not a psychopath. Good.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Whereas Only, I think, was a lot of just kind of almost the emotional masochism of we're gonna make you experience what hopelessness is like, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. This is gonna be bleakly. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like this format that we've moved to was the episode of Anthony Bourdain where he took Eric Ripert to Sichuan, China, because he knows that Eric doesn't like spicy food.
Yes.
I feel like that this was just a way for you to Like subject me to like emotionally masochistic movies.
No,
Which is
definitely.
fine. It's okay. It
No,
builds
if
character.
anything, it's just a way to. Well, I mean, that is true. It definitely does. But no. If anything, it's just a way to like formally, like the movies that you want to experience with your friend. It's just a way to like do that in a formal way. That it's like we almost have like a movie club every week. It's like, yeah, now it's this one. But yeah, so circling back to the next week's is Arrival. I think it's a fucking awesome movie. You've never seen it, right? And you thought I was talking about, wasn't it called The Arrival?
Charlie Sheen, yeah. I think it was called The Arrival, yep.
Yes, yeah. So the Arrival is the previous, yeah, but no, Arrival is came out in 2016. Stars Amy Adams and what's his name? Hawkeye. What is his name? Jeremy Renner? Yeah.
That guy does good work.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. He's definitely plays, I think, outside of his typecast in this movie. I think it'd be interesting. But yeah, I think you're gonna like it. Hopefully, I hope you like it. So that's gonna be next week, and that is gonna bring us to the end of this week's episode of the Metacast Movie Show. If you guys are watching us on YouTube and you've enjoyed the discussion, hit that like button, subscribe to keep up to date with what we're doing, and comment below and tell us how you felt about Logan Lucky. And if you're interested in joining us as a guest on a future episode, or just keeping up to date with the conversation even more, join our Discord. The link is in the description down below. And we'll be live next week, Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/TylerTV. Thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you have a great week.